Congressman Joe Wilson causing an uproar when he yelled, "You lie," to President Obama in front of the joint session of Congress last week. But will the president's health care plan cover millions of illegal immigrants or not? That's the subject of tonight's face-off debate. And joining me now, Congressman Anthony Weiner, Democrat of New York, who says no illegal immigrants would receive coverage. Good to have you with us, Congressman.
My pleasure.
And Congressman Brian Bilbray, Republican of California, who says there are loopholes that would allow health coverage to illegal immigrants. Good to have you with us, Congressman.
Great to be with you.
Let's listen to what Senator Snowe had to say today after a meeting of the so-called Gang of Six over in the Senate.
There's still some other issues, but to make sure that there's, explicit verification, documentation, and also strict prohibition against illegal immigrants getting any assistance.
Well, there's Olympia Snowe, Senator Snowe making it very clear there should be absolutely no coverage, Congressman Weiner. And it looks like that would be, if legislation is to go forward in the Senate, that would be an absolute requisite. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, let's make it very clear. There are many different plans floating around, and every single one of them makes it very clear that no one who's undocumented will be eligible to sign up for any of the plans being contemplated. But before we get too carried away with ourselves, let's remember something. Whether they're covered by insurance or not, they're still going to get health care, and it's still going to be paid for by we, the taxpayers. That's why we need to fix immigration laws. But we can try to thump our chests and say we're being tough on immigrants by leaving them out of these plans. But that doesn't mean they're not going to get care, and it doesn't mean that if they can't afford it, they're going to pass along the bills to localities and to we, the taxpayer.
Congressman Bilbray?
Louis, you know that if you do not have verification, if you don't have a requirement that you check that people are legally in the country, the illegals swarm in. I mean, the fact is that in California, where illegals are not supposed to get into state tuition, they are getting it now. You're getting college loans because we're not checking. The fact is, you can all say you want about, well, we don't want illegals to get it, but if you don't specifically identify that you will check and verify, that's as absurd as thinking that you're going to set a speed limit on a road, but then put a big sign up says, but no enforcement on this road will be implemented. What speed do you think they follow?
Yeah, Congressman Weiner, two amendments that would have been, including the Heller Amendment, first and foremost, that would have provided enforcement, defeated in Congress, conveying, at least to many, the very specific impression that, just as you were intimating there, that there was no desire to be, quote-unquote, tough on illegal immigrants, but rather to make enforcement absolutely impossible, and therefore tacitly to give health care coverage to illegal immigrants. Is that incorrect?
That's completely untrue. In fact, in the laws it's written in the 5 different plans, you can't sign up to get into the exchange or sign up to get any benefits without verification. The Heller Amendment had the absurd idea that we want our doctors sitting in an emergency room trying to figure out if someone was documented or not. That we should not put that burden on any hospital or any doctor. Doctors should be left to take care of people. The only question was an absurd amendment that was roundly defeated that said, you know what, when someone's brought in on a gurney, let's try to figure out by doing a retina scan or a fingerprint whether or not they're here legally. We should let doctors go ahead and try to do what they do best. We, policymakers, have already said you can't sign up for insurance, you can't sign up for any of the benefits if you're not documented. That's easy to verify, and that's in the law.
Congressman Bilbray, you got the last word on this.
The last word is the fact that history has proven that if you verify, you require verification, you check documentation, and you make sure that you send not just a signal to those who are illegally here now, but you send it around the world that, look, America is not going to reward people for coming into our country illegally. We got to send a clear message so they learn, don't try to break the law, don't take that risk because we're not going to reward you. But if you don't even bother to require verification, then you have these groups that end up suing and stopping any kind of verification, even if somebody wants to voluntarily do it, because then they claim it's discrimination. And that's why it's quite clear, just like employment, just like the president rightfully did this month, by mandating that all contractors now verify, we should be the same thing with all of our public benefits across the board. And that's how we send a clear message that if you want to come to America, come here legally.
And your reaction to that, Congressman Weiner?
Look, no one's disputing that you should have verification to enroll in this program. The law is crystal clear. Anyone from any part of the world can read that, and no one's going to get this insurance if they're not here legally. The only question is this, is the absurd idea that Mr. Bilbray and some others have that if someone's rolled in on a gurney, that before we do any operation, before we do anything, we find out whether or not they're documented. Let's leave doctors and nurses and emergency medical technicians to do what they do well. Just because we have immigration laws that admittedly are broken does not mean that that should go on. And I say to Mr. Bilbray, if he's an unfortunate person to, God forbid, be brought in and he doesn't have a wallet with him or can't speak, are we supposed to wait to operate on him before we can certify that he's here legally and go to a system that hasn't even been set up yet to try to check that? I think that's folly. Look, we've got to focus on the serious issues here, and those are the costs, and you bring down costs by passing plans like the Obama administration's proposed.
Anthony, you know that's not true. I mean, San Diego County provides $600 million of free health care to illegal aliens. You know they don't deny use. I've been in the hospitals in my county when I was chairman. I saw it on the front line. I don't want to know.
So what are you asking for, Brian? What are you asking for then?
I want to make sure that before you sign on to any public federal benefit or any public program the federal government's involved with, that you verify that somebody is legally present. So you send a message.
That's in the law, Brian, and you know it.
That is not, in fact, the Congressional Research Board already said that they will have access in here. You already have it in the research groups.
I will show you the page in the bill.
Then why did you vote against the motion in your committee when the fact all it said is let's verify people's citizenship before they get the benefits?
No, what Heller said was we should not provide any service at a hospital unless it's been verified. That is an impossible standard for a doctor, and you know it.
I know what the schedules are now and the process now. They get the benefits, Anthony, and you know they're getting the benefits at the clock of $600 million. What we're trying to do is make sure
Gentlemen, I don't have to interrupt you here.
Block it.
We'll continue this. Come back. We'll continue the discussion. We appreciate it. Congressman Anthony Weiner, Congressman Brian Bilbray.
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Thank you, Lou.
Please